we got to jump to this next bit.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's talk. What are we talking about now?
So this is the Harper's letter that was written. And I want to give a shout out to Bridget Fedesi, who tweeted, "To everyone who signed this letter, welcome to the alt-right." And I laughed very much when I saw that. Excellent tweet, Bridget. Because this is a letter on justice and open debate, which basically says cancel culture bad, free speech good. And it was signed by 150 or so people.
Wow.
And it includes a lot of people who are like lefties who have actually tried engaging in cancel culture. It's kind of funny. Well, maybe they're realizing just how bad things are. But special shout out to people like Nick Christakis, Noam Chomsky. Didn't Elon Musk say like F Chomsky or something?
He sure did. He does not like Chomsky.
I mean,
I'll tell you what.
I've heard some of Chomsky's speeches over the past couple days.
I like Chomsky.
I've been looking into it, and he defends free speech heartily.
He has,
and he also condemned the violence from Antifa.
Oh, okay.
I'm a fan.
He has some crazy ideas.
He certainly
I don't know
does.
enough about him, but all I know is that he has a few crazy ideas.
There's a video.
I'm still digging.
There's a video I posted
that.
from like the 70s or 80s or something, where he said straight up, "I will legally defend a person whose views I abhor.
Yeah.
Of course.
If I'm defending their free speech."
That's how it should
And
be.
people were yelling at him for it.
I know.
Saying that basically, by saying the speech is acceptable, it's a favorable view of their speech. And he's
Right.
like, no.
Absolutely
The right to
not.
expression must be distinct
everyone.
from.
Yeah.
So mad props. We also got Steven Pinker.
And he said something that stuck with me. He said, "You're on two sides. You either agree with free speech as a whole, or you only agree with speech that you agree with. There's
Like your people.
no difference, or there's nothing else. It's either one or the other. Period."
That's
You know,
pretty
And
fine.
it's like, man, he's got a good point there.
he used to be like the left-wing pope.
Really?
I'm being very exaggerated, but people on the left held him up as like the dude.
He did, yeah.
And so when Antifa started doing all this violence, people emailed Chomsky and they said, "How do you feel about this?" And he said something. I'm gonna try and get the quote, but I'm paraphrasing. "When we enter the arena of violence, the most brutal guy wins, and that is not us." And he was right.
Yep.
Case in point, the video of that Proud Boy winding up the shot and then boom, and the guy goes flying.
Yeah, I saw that.
You are not Antifa, but the right is restrained and doesn't want to engage in violence. So Antifa is just running amok, and the cops aren't doing anything about it. But so he's condemned Antifa's violence. He said it's not a good idea. He's defended free speech. He's also got a bunch of really crazy far lefty ideas. That's fine.
Yeah, I haven't heard that stuff yet.
I don't care. Like whatever your views are, however you want to live your life, as long as you're not violating the rights of other people, as long as you're honest and truthful, respectful, nonviolent, then you can be a communist. So so long as you I will sit down and have an excellent debate with a communist, as long as they don't agree that they can try and swing a punch at me because I don't agree with them.
Right.
Like Antifa, nah, they're out of the question. But some commie wants to sit down and have a debate, 100%. Let's have a debate. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I disagree. But here's the best part. Let's get to it. Matthew Yglesias.
Oh, yes.
Matthew Yglesias is a co-founder of Vox.com, a progressive media outlet designed to explain the news, which eventually just devolved into left-wing rage bait. And while I want to say that Matthew is not the worst, he called Donald Trump a moderate, and Vox is the snooty elitist of the far left, not the extreme reeing of the far left.
Yeah.
I still think they're responsible for a lot of the stuff that's going on. But something kind of, well, maybe not ironic, but what's the word I'm thinking of? Let's just say the easiest way to explain it is you reap what you sow. Check this out. No, I mean kind of. So this is a letter written by some it's the critic at large, I believe, for Vox, Emily Vanderwerf, who, I'll just paraphrase, wrote a letter saying, "I sent a version of this to the editors of Vox. I have redacted some bits that are internal to Vox and shouldn't be aired publicly." Basically saying that it is a privileged position for Matthew Yglesias to be signing this letter and talking about free speech because he doesn't recognize how his privilege and it negatively impacts marginalized people. Notably, that some of the people who have signed this have anti-trans opinions, and by joining in with them, it empowers them and their positions, and that puts them at risk.
I see J.K. Rowling's name right there.
Oh, definitely. And that's probably one of the people that she was referring to. Mm-hmm. Well, Matthew Yglesias was then, let me jump over here. Here we go. This is from Noam Blum. He says, "If you had any doubts that Yglesias was shut down by his bosses." After signing this letter, this is from yesterday, Matthew Yglesias tweeted, I have committed to not doing contentious stuff on Twitter anymore, so I seriously can't comment on this and would appreciate being taken out of the thread. He has committed to not doing this. To who and to why? Well, we then have this from Ezra Klein. Ezra said a lot of debates that sell themselves as being about free speech are actually about power. And there's a lot of power in being able to claim and hold the mantle of free speech defender. Ezra Klein is another co-founder of Vox.
Oh, okay.
Matthew Yglesias said, should I reply to this with a concrete example or stick to my commitments to you? What have we learned from these tweets? Somebody who works at Vox wrote a letter saying he was putting trans people at risk. That opens the door to discrimination lawsuits by someone who can say, my boss signed a letter with transphobes, and that proves he has a negative view, and so everything he did against me was based on that discrimination. And that's the argument they could try and make. Matthew Yglesias says he made a commitment to Ezra Klein. And what was that commitment? That he will not speak on contentious issues. He's canceled.
Yep.
That's
Wow.
it. Goodbye.
Himself. He
signed a letter to defend cancel culture. Someone at his company sent a letter in that was properly worded and not overly threatening. And now he has had a conversation with Ezra where he cannot comment anymore. And here's the best part. Ezra Klein's comment about debates on free speech is specifically targeting Matthew Yglesias. What have we learned? Matthew, as the co-founder of Vox, you are no longer allowed to address your fellow co-founders and co-workers when they insult, mock, or criticize you. And that's what that's the world you've built.
Yep.
So I have to ask. So a lot of times I talk about how the left is really projecting when they say that the right is doing something wrong. I think this is a classic example of them projecting, we're going to cancel you, we're going to talk to your boss. Because this is exactly what has just happened to Matthew. And I think that's what he's afraid of, and I think that's what people like him have tried to do in the past. We're going to get you canceled. You're fired. You can't speak anymore.
He has done this?
I think that people on the left, not Matthew, not as far as I know. But I think it's just projection, just classic projection.
Yep.
I don't know. That's what I came up with. That's
I mentioned this the other day. That guy who was saying to me, "You're first against the wall."
I'm gonna talk to your boss.
I'm gonna call I'm gonna call those who employ you.
Yes.
I love it.
You should have given them your number.
Somebody tweeted this out. I don't know who it was, but it was a really good point. And they said we need cancel culture herd immunity, which means we need more people to be canceled.
Yep.
There have been people.
I could see it, but I mean, I don't know. It's ridiculous.
What do you mean?
Well, yeah, the argument that if everyone gets canceled, no one is.
If only
right?
if only 50% of people are canceled, then cancel culture stops working.
Okay.
So that's the idea, herd immunity.
Yeah.
Herd immunity, right.
Eventually, so here's the hope to be less pessimistic. As I think the WIN network is very promising. It is a decentralized network of Reddit forums that have no boss.
Yep.
No one person who can just ban you. That's amazing.
Yes,
Locals is another version of this from Dave Rubin's project. Dave can't ban anybody.
Decentralized, yeah.
I was going to start streaming games on Twitch, but I'm not going anywhere close to Twitch. No way. No way I'm not touching that.
The Fediverse is a really interesting concept that just hasn't gained traction.
What's that?
It is a protocol, kind of like, what's the easiest way to explain it? It would be like if you gave people your Mastodon address and then it's subscribing to your newsletter. Okay. So it's a Twitter that's decentralized and there are different servers. So Mastodon was I think is the biggest, but it's very far left. They ban everything.
Okay.
They banned Will Wheaton. That was funny. And Will Wheaton was like an SJW. That's how crazy far left they are. But Gab, for instance, is on the Fediverse.
Okay.
Meaning that if I create my own server, timcast.com, then I would say follow me. My handle is tim@timcast.com. And then you would follow me, and then you would see whatever I post. But no one could ban me because you're basically just going to my website. So what it basically does is it creates a Twitter feed, but each person's tweet or post
comes from their own
different servers
site.
that once it gets delivered to you. So nobody can ban you. If you're on a node like Gab, Gab could say we're banning Mastodon, but Gab wouldn't do that. However, Mastodon did ban Gab. They're like, if you're on our node, you will not see anyone from Gab. No dice. Yeah, you can't do it. So it's actually also a really, really good idea, because then instead of me saying, follow me on Twitter, I'd say my handle is @Timcast, and then it doesn't matter what you use, you get it. That, I think, is a path forward that will really save us from the mind, brainwashing, indoctrination.
I love it. These are the kind of conversations I like having.
But
moving forward.
But I think, why I think 230 reform is the magic bullet? If the Republicans sweep, and this is why it is, and I can't believe I would ever say something like this, so important that they do. I am willing to concede at this point, with how crazy everything's gotten. The Democrats have made me desperate, and now maybe I am turning to people I don't quite understand.
They don't seem as crazy.
So no,
we talked about this though. The Republican Party hasn't varied very often.
It actually
much.
moved a little bit to the left.
Yeah,
right. They moved quite far as far as traditional Republicans.
If this stops, I'll give you the best example. The Democrats just voted to repeal civil rights law.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That was like being punched in the gut by the left.
It's insane. I can't believe that.
That has to stop now.
Absolutely.
And that means if I have to go to the Republican Party, that means I have to do it.
Yep.
So we'll see how things play out with Trump. That's a different story, but very likely, I don't know what's going to happen with congressional votes or whatever in November. So we'll see how that plays out. But if the Republicans win, and the first thing they do is just jam Section 230 reform in, what's going to happen? Right now, there's a big boycott against Facebook. They're trying to get Facebook to bend the knee and ban more hate speech. And Facebook is slowly giving what they want, but no matter what Facebook does, they say more.
Yep.
What would happen if a law was passed? You cannot ban legal speech. Then the advertisers would go to Zuckerberg and say, we demand all the far left nonprofits, every email they could send would fall on deaf ears when Mark Zuckerberg would simply reply all. That would be illegal.
Yeah, that would be easy.
And they would say, well, then we don't want to advertise with you. I'm so sorry. It's the law.
Yep.
If you want your advertisements on this platform, you recognize that we can't control the speech. That's federal law.
Boom.
It is the easiest out. It will bolster the profits of Google, Facebook, Twitter, and all these companies. It will give them the easiest excuse. We want to help you. We're so angry at Trump. Oh, no. But unfortunately, that's the law. We have to allow these opinions.
Yep.
And I'm not talking about evil people saying evil things. One of the tricks the far left likes to do is saying, see, they want death threats on their platform. No, that's banned. That's illegal. You post a death threat, they can go, delete. That was a crime.
Yep.
If they have a good faith belief that what you posted was illegal, they can remove it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there will be overstep. There will be appeals.
Sure.
And I think it's Will Chamberlain of Human Events whose proposal is that access to social media should be considered a human right, and that if you get banned, you can immediately go to court and get an injunction filed to restore all of your access. If this reform happens, then immediately you will see a real conversation. All of the silent majority will not be scared to speak up anymore. Well, not all of them, but a lot of them. You won't get banned. You can say whatever you want.
We need that back. We need thick skin.
We need 230 reform.
Yeah, we need to save. To bring it even a few step back, like comedy is dying. Comedy's dying. George Carlin was like the last vestige of just saying whatever he wanted.
Think about,
he did not care.
If you were able to go on Twitter and make all of the jokes from South Park and Family Guy without getting banned.
Yeah.
Right now, you can't. 230 reform is maybe not the most important thing, I don't know, but I think it's extremely important because it would reverse the flow of the cultural stream.
Yeah. John Cleese said, it says something really interesting about this. I don't remember all of it. Man, there's a lot, but it started with if people can't control their emotions, they switch it to try to control other people's behavior. And there's a lot more to that, but it's about having thick skin. It's about confronting yourself and this will
bring it back.
I agree.
I
love it.
Imagine if you go on Facebook.
It's an amazing idea.
And it's nothing but grow a pair, you whiny baby. Cry, keep crying. And you're like, you can't say mean things to me. That's illegal. Sorry, it's not.
It's legal.
Think about all of people.
Have to grow thick skin.
Listen.
Boom.
People don't realize
Stop caring what other people think. That is number one. Don't care what other people think. Why is that? Why do you care so much? Work on your own life.
You'll get banned.
If you work on your own life? Because I just said that to them right now, I'm going to get banned?
If you ignore what other people think, you get banned.
Oh, I don't ignore it. I'm watching.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. If you want to catch the full show, tune in to this channel, subscribe, hit the like button, or check us out on iTunes and Spotify, and we will soon have this podcast up for free on all podcast platforms. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all in the next episode.